Welcome, Risers. It's that time once again for the Agent Rise podcast. I'm your co-host, Neil Mathwig, joined today by TJ McGraw and a very special guest in Sean Carpenter. Sean is going to be joining us for the Agent Rise Summit, and today we want to give you a little bit of a taste of what you're in store for if you come and join us for the summit. Sean is amazing at staying top of mind with his clients. If this is something that maybe you've struggled with in the past of how do I stay in touch with my clients? I feel like there's certain things that I know that I need to be doing, but how do I actually do them? And why are they important? When it comes to our sphere, we feel like maybe we're bothering them, or we feel like maybe the certain things that we're doing is not necessary and it's just noise. But there is an importance to this, and I know that Sean is going to help you discover that. I'm excited for you to not only hear the podcast today, but come and see him live, because I got to see Sean at the Real Estate Distilled Conference, and Sean had me laughing and he had me crying. And the first thing that I said to Sean after his talk is I went up to him and I said, I've got to have you at the Agent Rise Summit. You've got to come and share this with the Risers at the summit. And so Sean's like, let me see if I can figure it out. And of course he did. And so he's going to be here on April 28th to the 30th. So you're going to get a little bit of a taste of what it's like to stay top of mind with your clients, how to do that, some of the strategies, the stories that go behind it, so that you see the importance of staying top of mind. So make sure you come join us for the Agent Rise Summit. It's April 28th to the 30th in downtown Fort Myers. Again, you can get all of the details at agentrisecoaching.com/summit. And now let's get on with it. Here's TJ McGraw interviewing Sean Carpenter.
We have Sean Carpenter with us. He's going to tell us about staying top of mind. He's coming to the summit to give the talk. So he's not going to give away everything, but we're going to give you a little sneak peek, a little teaser of what Sean's going to be talking about at the summit, staying top of mind, some tips and tactics to do that, because it truly is really important to you that people know that you're there and know that you're a real estate agent. So Sean, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate that.
No problem, TJ. Glad to be here, and certainly excited to get down to the summit and meet all the people from all around the country who all have a similar focus of how do they take care of their customers and their clients in their communities. And that's what we'll talk about in my session.
Awesome. Yeah. And I know everybody in the Agent Rise community, or everybody that I've met in the Agent Rise community, I think they really separate themselves from other agents because they have the emotional intelligence and the desire to really be of service and like have a servant heart. So I'm excited to hear, how to really put that into practice, because it's one thing to have that service mentality, but then, if you're not skilled and you haven't developed a couple of the skills or utilizing some of the tips and tricks, it might be hard to get that out and communicate that to your clients and community. So give us the, I ask everybody that I'm interviewing, like, give us the cliff notes on your talk. Like, what are you going to teach us about?
Okay. Well, TJ, my presentation is called Leave Your Mark. And the subtitle is How to Earn Top of Mind Awareness from Your Customers, Clients, and Community. And that's what real estate agents should be focused on every day, is how do they earn that top of mind, tip of the tongue? Because the fact of the matter is, guys, there's 1.55 million realtors in the National Association of Realtors. If you do the quick math, based on 336 plus million people in the United States, there's one realtor for every 216 people. But I think we all know, TJ, certainly you and your marketplace, me and my marketplace, people listening to this, their sphere of influence, their past clients, their friends and family probably knows of at least 10 realtors in their town, right? And so everyone listening to this has to sort of say to themselves, would those people, if they woke up tomorrow morning and needed real estate help or knew someone who did, would they think of me first? Is my name going to be top of mind? And so how can real estate agents, how can brands, how can any company earn that top of mind awareness with their customers, clients, and communities? And so that's going to be kind of the main focus of that. We'll tell some stories of, real estate, and I'll tell some stories, more importantly, outside of real estate, because we can look within all we want in our business, but we have to understand what we think of real estate every day, TJ, because that's what we do. Our customers and our clients don't think about real estate every day. They think about real estate once every 5 to 10 to 12 years. But they think about Starbucks every day. They think about Apple every day. They think about Ford every day. They think about NBC every day. They think about, all these things that are consumer driven. And so we got to start thinking like a consumer sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, it's when you really think of the numbers of how many agents there are out there, it's kind of astounding to really think about it. What is your tactic? Is it like social media, or are like, what are just some of a couple things that you teach, because you're a coach and you've helped a bunch of agents?
Yeah, well, let's talk about the 6 channels of communication, right? I think there's ways that we as realtors can stay in touch with our customers, our clients, and our communities. And the 6 channels of communication from top to bottom would be face to face, right? I mean, the first one. Obviously, any face to face conversations you can have is kind of the ultimate what we're leading to. Now, in our world, a listing appointment or a buyer counseling session would be the ultimate face to face. But any conversation, any chance, whether it's breakfast, coffee, lunch, happy hour, meeting at the gym, talking after church, any face-to-face is good. The second would be voice-to-voice, having a phone conversation with somebody, voice-to-voice. Screen to screen is texting from my screen to your screen. Then there's inbox, getting in your email box. There's mailbox, getting in your hard copy, old-fashioned paper in the hand mailbox. And there's social media. And so if you think about that, the best agents in the world are going to touch all 6 of those every single day, right? When you wake up, you should have a plan to say, how am I going to get in front of my audience through all those channels, and then consistently be in front of those people through all those channels? Because I think a lot of us kind of default to 1 or 2 of them. We feel comfortable. We put agents on a drip, or we put our customers on a drip campaign through email. And we feel like that checks the box and it satisfies the need to say, I've already talked to Mr. McGraw. I don't need to follow up with him any other way. But at some point in time, if all you get from me, TJ, is an email every first of the month, because you're on some email newsletter, well, it's easy for you to hit delete because you know I'm going to send one to you next month. And then it's going to be easy after you hit delete enough times to say unsubscribe. But if I stay in touch with you through an email newsletter, through a handwritten note every once in a while, I see you at the gym or our local country club, or I see you at church, I call you every once in a while with a market update, or maybe I text you on your birthday, or I text you a funny thing when your team wins a game, and comment on your social. All of a sudden, you know what you say? You say, I see Sean Carpenter everywhere. He's everywhere. But I'm really hitting just these different channels. I'm not just in your inbox. I'm not just in your mailbox. I'm not just church. I'm not just on social media. I'm sort of become this person you see everywhere. And to play the odds, the day you wake up and need real estate help, or know someone who does, if I'm one of the last people that was at your top of your mind on one of those channels, that's, I think, the best tactic to say, this is the way I can leave my mark, is by hitting people in all these different places.
Yeah, I'm definitely guilty of the drip campaign. I've just, not recently, but in the past, it's like, oh, you're just struggling to get things done, and you don't quite have systems down, and the email campaign is checking that box. Big mistake for sure. I can attest to that 100%. But I'm glad that you talked about these 6 channels, because when you first started saying like Apple's top of mind and Ford's top of mind, these other companies are top of mind, they also spend an ungodly amount of money on marketing. So, but you're saying it's not that it doesn't have to be, you don't have to spend a ton of money on staying top of mind.
No, you just have to, once again, think about this. Ford and Apple and those places, they do spend a ton of money, and they're a different level of business than the individual agents listening to this, right? Mm-hmm. But Ford, think about the amount of money that Ford spent on like a hood ornament or something on the bumper of a car. And next time you're sitting at a traffic light, in fact, some of you guys listening to this right now may be listening in your car and you're at a traffic light right now. And look around. You're going to see a Lexus. You're going to see a Toyota Tacoma. You're going to see a Ford Fusion. You're going to see a logo. You're going to drive past a Wendy's. You're going to drive past a Starbucks logo with a mermaid up on a green sign, right? You're going to see a billboard for Verizon or Nextel. And those are just brands that are getting in front of you and earning that top money, because logos, taglines, jingles, right? Places, people, smells, they all leave marks. And so what are you doing for your brand to make sure people see you, think of you, right?
Right.
I need to get to the point where my brand is more than my brand, TJ, right? I'll talk about this in the presentation, but we all have a brand. You're with Real, I'm with Cold Anchor. We all have different brands, but we're all realtors. We're all with a broker, but we're also from a certain part of the area. Your brand is South Atlanta, but that means your brand is also Georgia. But my brand is also Florida Gators, where I went to school. My brand is also golf, and I'm a craft beer drinker, and I'm a Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers fan. So people say, well, Sean, what does you like and Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers have to do with selling real estate? Here's what, because now that you know that, TJ, when you're driving to Costco this weekend and you hear Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers on the radio as you're pulling in the parking lot, who's going to pop in your mind? I
Yeah.
am. And if 10 minutes later in Costco, you run into a buddy who you start having a quick conversation, he says, hey, I'm getting ready to move to Columbus, Ohio. And you say, you should talk to my friend Sean Carpenter because I'm right there on the top of your mind.
Yeah.
And if we can get people enough times to understand that my brand is more than my brand, our names are going to pop into their heads way more often.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way to put it because you're right. I will, next time I hear Tom Petty, I'm definitely going to think of you. There's no question about it. So what it sounds, it's simple. Like the concept is simple, but the things that are simple aren't always easy to execute. So like, what are some of the challenges that like the agents that you coach, what are the challenges that they run into, when they're just trying to get this top of mind stuff going?
I think the biggest thing I see agents do is they work so hard to get deals to the finish line that as soon as they get them to the closing table, they move on to the next deal. And they hope that drip campaign keeps the relationship with that client. And it's those people that just moved into their house, just got done with the transaction. We got to keep nurturing those people in a way that, yes, we need to go on to the next deals. We got to start building the pipeline, but we can't forget about the people that we were just working with. I have a saying that it says your LTM is your ATM. It stands for your last 12 months is your money-making opportunity if you stay in touch with your last 12 months worth of clients. Because I don't know about you, TJ, but the buyers you just closed in the last couple months, they're still stepping over boxes. They're still learning new ways to their work and their kids' school. They're still learning a pizza shop and a daycare center and a veterinarian's office in their towns. They're still thinking about real estate every day. Why wouldn't you want to stay in touch with those people? Because they're still thinking about it, which means they're still talking about it with people at work, in their families, in their neighborhoods. And what a great opportunity for them to say, well, did you have a good experience? Oh, TJ was the best. He took really good care of us and he stays in touch with us still to this day. And that becomes some really good opportunities. I think sometimes we're moving on to the next deal and not worrying about the last deal we just had.
Yeah, that's it. That's big. Cause I've, like I said, I've made the mistake with just to the drip campaign, and those really go nowhere. And honestly, I've lost track of a few clients that I did way years ago. I'm not even sure if they're still in the same house, which is unfortunate. Kind of embarrassed to say, but I'm going to admit it so that everybody can learn from my mistakes. But I've also done what you are saying, and I've stayed in touch. And I teach the agents that I coach, or the agents on my team, that if it's important to put yourself in a position with them and build a relationship that's such where they can't tell the story of buying a house without mentioning you in that story. Like, so that kind of concept fits right in. I can't wait to hear your talk, because you're going to take that concept that I've been trying to teach my agents to another level. So I can't wait.
TJ, I think a lot of us strive in this business. They say, if I can just provide great service, I'll be successful. And I got to say, I don't think great service is enough anymore in 2024. I think great service is expected these days. I think as a consumer, if you don't get great service, you go somewhere else. If you don't get what you're looking for, you go somewhere else. And so great service is expected, but great service by itself isn't enough. I think what we should be aiming for is, how do we provide a memorable experience for our clients? Great service is part of a memorable experience, but by itself, it is not the experience. So in our business, it's before the transaction, it's during the transaction, and it's got to be after the transaction as well. So they realize it wasn't just about a commission check for the agent. They're truly helping me get from point A to point B, but then being part of that journey of being a homeowner and, getting me to my next destination so that I can truly become that realtor for life. I don't need you to move every year, TJ, but if I can get one referral from each of my buyers every year, then my business supports itself, right? And then I can, I do a presentation called Give Them Something to Talk About, right? Creating a better story for success. And I'd like to say this: if you have a good story to tell and other people tell it for you, then you don't have to be the one to spend your time, effort, and money telling your story. You just have to take care of the people who tell your story for you. And that's just a better way to build your business.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's called earning attention versus getting attention, right? And you and I both know in our industry, there's a lot of people that are good at getting attention. They're loud on social media. They make, crazy videos, sometimes maybe at the detriment of themselves, their company, their broker, their sellers. But it's all about getting the clicks, man. It's all about getting the clicks, and it's all about getting, followers and friends, and it's an ego thing versus the businesses and the agents and brokerages that earn attention because they do the right things. They do the things the right way. And that's the kind of people that says like, that's kind of who I want to work with, buyers buy houses, sellers buy brand, sellers buy image.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you mentioned that because there's so much pressure and it seems to increase every day that you have to be on social media and be like outrageous almost on social media to get attention. So I'm glad you're making that distinction. I think if you're out there listening, like rewind that a little bit and listen to that again, because there is a distinction between getting attention and earning attention. I love the way you phrased that.
Yeah. I'm going to share some stories at the summit, TJ, where I put the spotlight on other people. I'm going to challenge the attendees to be what I call, to look for people doing what I call being blog worthy, right? Meaning that you'd want to write a blog post about them. If you don't have a blog, could they be Facebook worthy? Could they be Instagram worthy? Could they be TikTok or Snapchat worthy? Could they be talk to the manager and tell me they did a good job worthy? Could they be fill out the survey and mention the person by name worthy? I'll share some stories outside of the real estate industry that I picked up lessons from because they were doing things when nobody was watching because it was going to be the right thing to do, or it was going to help the next person, or it was going to make the company look better, or the experience better. Because there's a sign that hangs in my office back in Columbus, Ohio, where I operate. And it says, doing what's required only prevents customer dissatisfaction. You must do more than is required to truly satisfy a customer. So when we as agents take a listing, put a sign in the front yard and get them to the closing table, we did exactly what they expected us to do. Why would they go to the office and say, let me tell you what TJ did? He did his job. We got to find a way to go a little bit above, right? Whether that's with the kids, whether that's with some sort of a marketing play, whether that's with a post-closing transaction, whether it's a special thing we did during the transaction, little things that if we could find ways to make people say, wow, you know what? I found that people who say, wow, tell other people about those wows. They go to the office the next day and say, guess what my realtor did for me?
Yeah.
They go to their kids' ball games and say, guess what my realtor did for me? And imagine, TJ, if you could be so good at creating wow experiences that someone's sitting on the sidelines now at a ball game in South Atlanta, and they're saying, guess what my realtor did for me? And the person says to them, wait, are you selling your house? And they say, no. And they say, well, why is your realtor even talking to you? He talks to me all the time. He's been in my life since I bought my house 11 years ago. And they go, wow.
Yeah.
Your
Can't get rid of
realtor
him.
is so much cooler than my realtor.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like I'm actually disappointed now when I don't make friends with my clients. Like, cause sometimes it's either you meet them and their house sells quickly and you didn't really get a chance to know them and they move out of town. I still keep in touch and I still send mail and I'll still, reach out every now and again, but it's not the same if they're local in the area.
Yeah. That's the cool thing about our business is we, Seth Godin, one of my favorite authors, bloggers, speakers, thought leaders. Most people listening has probably heard of Seth Godin if they're not avid followers of him like I am. But, in his book, Flipping the Funnel, he said this. He said, our job as marketers, salespeople, that's what we are in real estate. We're both marketers and salespeople, is our job is to turn strangers into friends, turn friends into customers. And then the most important thing is to turn those customers into salespeople, right?
Yeah.
Let the customers tell our story. Let the customers reach out and tell other people about us. Let the customers refer us business. And so that's, if you can get your friends, family, sphere of influence, and certainly your clients tell other people about you, then you've just built a business that will build itself.
Yeah, 100%. So of the agents that you coach or you've taught, like give me your favorite like success story.
Well, let's see. Andrew in our Newark office does a great job of earning repeat referral business. Him and his father and his grandfather before that had been a name brand in that small town east of Columbus. Testimonials are a huge part of our business. So it's always a challenge to get people to send us testimonials, right? A lot of people will do it, willing to do it. Some people will do it if we ask. So each year they do a campaign and the campaign's called My Realtor is Cooler Than Your Realtor. And they get a big Yeti cooler. They fill it with some local craft beers and they send a picture of it out to their people that haven't sent referral or sent testimonials. And they say, would you take a quick second to send us a testimony about your experience working with us? We're calling this My Realtor is Cooler Than Your Realtor. and you're going to win this big Yeti cooler filled with local craft beers. And they usually get 60 to 70% of people send back testimonials off of that one little thing. So I just think that's something fun to take it. Once again, it's about them, but they're making it about the consumer and giving them an opportunity to have some fun. I just think, looking for opportunities, to do things that are going to get people to say, that wasn't to sell a house. That wasn't to buy a house. I go back to that blog worthy nature, TJ. If you start looking for people in your town, doing things a little more than is expected, you know what happens? You'll start doing something a little more than is expected. You'll start watching for saying, doing your job is expected, but doing more than your job is wow. That's what goes from, a C to an A+.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the cooler idea. That's amazing. It's right up my alley because I too like craft beers, and I would never buy a Yeti cooler on my own because I think
they're ungodly expensive. Right? But once again, it could be worth it if those testimonials turn into a couple of referrals because the name that they saw at the bottom of the testimonial, or it's a story similar to theirs. So it's a good campaign for them.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's a great idea to do it. That's what I mean. It's like almost, it's like one of those like guilty pleasures for a lot of people to spend that much money on a cooler. So what a great idea. I think it's fantastic. But the point I want to make is you mentioned fun. I think you said the word fun a few times. If you just inject your own personality into making it fun, like just as if you were, doing it for friends, I think that's what the difference between making it a stressful thing when you think about, I got to stay in contact, stay top of mind, or making it like just part of just an extension of your personality and you're having fun with your business.
Yeah. It's part of my philosophy. TJ's 26 years in the real estate business. My philosophy has been the same since day one. It's a 3-part philosophy: build relationships, solve problems, have fun. If you can do those 3 things every single day, you know what happens? You get buyers, you get sellers, you get referrals. So when I lay my head on the pillow each night, I try and fall asleep by saying, did I build relationships today? Either a new relationship with someone I've never met or deepen a relationship with someone I've known for years. Did I solve problems today? And whether they're real estate related problems or not, if I can help people solve problems on a consistent basis, they're probably going to call me when they have a real estate problem. If I can have fun doing it, pretty good day. And so I found if I can do those 3 things, you know what happens? The buyers come, the sellers come, the speaking opportunities come, the coaching opportunities come, but I don't focus on those. Those come as having fun in what I do.
Yeah, it's like a bonus to having fun. That sounds like a good job to me. Sign me up.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. Well, we're going a little bit longer here. We're at risk of giving away all of your secrets. And I want people to come see you at the summit. I think we got a great speaker lineup, and it's hard to say like who's going to be the best speaker for sure. Like it's going to be amazing. So if you're listening out there, get your tickets, agentrise.com/summit. Tickets are still available, of course, for now anyway. Before we go, Sean, somebody wants to come see you, or maybe they just can't make it work. What's one tip that you can give them right now that they could implement today? What's the biggest tip you could give?
Keep your eyes open for people in your community doing things that make you notice, that make you pay attention, that's above and beyond what's expected. And when you start looking for it, you'll start raising your game a little bit to do the same thing. And then once again, remember, your LTM could be your ATM. Go back to those people you've worked with in the last year and touch base with them. Don't just let them be a recipient of a drip campaign. Make sure you maintain that relationship moving forward.
Great. Beautiful, man. Thanks so much, Sean. I can't wait to meet you in person down in Fort Myers and share. I'm definitely going to share a craft beer with you, I think.
Looking forward to it. It'll be fun.
The cards. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Agent Rise podcast. And if you want to join TJ and Sean for that craft beer that they talked about, make sure you do that and get your tickets to the Agent Rise Summit. You can go to agentrisecoaching.com/summit. Again, the dates are April 28th to the 30th in downtown Fort Myers. Don't miss out. Sean is one of many amazing speakers, but make sure you join us for the Agent Rise Summit. You will not regret it. Again, go to agentrisecoaching.com/summit to get your tickets today. Thanks so much for listening to the Agent Rise podcast. And like always, remember to be the reason somebody smiles today.